Welcome to ASEAN Biz, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm Andrew Chia.
And I'm Eric Chong.
And we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that affects ASEAN countries.
Our direct main story today is global meltdown again. But before that, let's look at our current business updates on the topic of rising unemployment in ASEAN.
Hey Eric, looks like bad news everywhere. And what's that thing called global meltdown? Sounds like very serious and scary, right?
Our main story is global meltdown, and then follow up with our today's topic, rising unemployment in ASEAN.
And we have more good news for a change.
Yeah, but it's just too bad. The 2016 actually started off with quite a number of bad news.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and actually the year of 2016 started off badly with China slowing down, followed by Brexit and low oil prices.
Yeah,
Andrew, I thought low oil prices is a good news for everybody.
Good for some people and bad for some people.
Yeah.
So it seems that for the countries exporting oil, their economy slow down.
And especially those in the oil and gas industries, actually
Unemployment,
no more jobs. And a few of my friends, actually, their company have to shut down.
Right.
In
Malaysia?
Because in Australia.
Ah.
And a few of them don't even get assignment for a few months.
I thought Malaysia is bad because our Petronas, National Petrol Company, already retrenched some stuff. And the profits, it seems, that dropped by 95% compared to last year.
Yeah.
Very serious.
Oh, because of the low oil prices.
Right.
And it's too tedious to talk about why the oil prices go so low.
Yeah.
Right. It's just demand and supply things.
Yes.
Probably a lot of countries slowly changing their policies to electric car.
That's one of the factors.
One
the
of the
main
factors.
They had the other alternative kind of oil, right?
Yes.
Called
Shale oil.
Shale oil, yes. That drove the prices of the petroleum down.
And in fact, in our past few episodes, we actually covered shale oil before. So you can look back into what shale oil is all about.
Yeah. So because of all these problems, the world economy is slowing down and unemployment is rising in many cities in ASEAN, including our country, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and even Myanmar. All these countries have recorded increased unemployment in 2016. Except the good news is Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos are still having low unemployment rates.
Yeah, because probably these three countries is still in the development stage, where still a lot of people have work to do, and most of them are farmers. So which makes them very occupied.
Good news for these few poorer countries, but for most of the other countries, we are having worse unemployment and governments are having headache, right?
But surprisingly, in Malaysia, we still heard a lot of manufacturers says that there are shortage of workers.
Yes,
and they always wanted to import workers from
especially
Bangladesh
the furniture industry. I understand there are shortage of workers in furniture industry.
I wonder what happens to our Malaysians. Don't they want to work in the factories, or is it the factory? Is such a bad environment to work in?
Everybody wants to work, Eric, I believe. Just that the pay, they want a higher pay, right?
Yeah, but
just
then if you work it out, to bring in the foreign workers is not cheap either. And then the kind of headache and the cultural exchange and the difference in culture will actually cause more problem.
But most employers are still going for the Bangladeshis and the other countries.
It's all in the sense of mentality. I think that they felt that by employing foreign workers, they are much more in control.
And Eric, the more worrying trend right now is that young people between the age of 20 to 30, and especially graduates, they are increasing percentage of unemployment.
Yeah, in that sense, it's because the market is flooded with graduates, one thing. And I would say
few reasons lah. Maybe they're choosy about their jobs.
They are choosy about the jobs, and also partly because some of them does not arm with their so-called industrial skills in terms of
So you mean the
streetwise
employers don't like them so much?
They are not in favor to be employed yet Right?
They may be good students,
They may be good students in terms of academic. They may be good, but in terms of the general knowledge,
work
performance, and their command of English might not be there.
So Eric, in view of all these problems and rising unemployment, what do you think that we should do? Or the younger folks who just graduated, what should they do?
Well, I think the first thing they should do is to tighten their belt first. Spend
that
less.
Sounds like a very inconvenient truth.
Spend less. Don't go to clubbing so often. I actually see that quite a number of students have the habit of going to clubs, pubs, and so on and so forth.
Hey, Eric, those days we don't have clubs, but we have discos, which is equivalent to today's clubs, right?
Well, those days we does not have that kind of spending power to frequent it so often. Probably we just go there once in 6 months.
Hey, our parents not rich, but your kids' parents rich, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Other than that, what do you advise them to do? Spend on necessities, spend less,
Yes.
What else? Do you think young people should work harder?
They should work harder, and on top of that, to become smarter. Smarter in the sense of to be more streetwise.
I think young people today don't really agree to the term work harder. They believe in working smarter.
That's just part of the equation. Even though to become smarter, you need to be working harder to do the research on how to become smarter.
Yeah, but if they have graduated from the university, they have done all the research already, right?
Yeah,
the professors would have taught them everything.
That will be just the academic part. What about the working environment part, the practicality part?
Okay, let's talk about entrepreneurs. What do you suggest that entrepreneurs should do with
the entrepreneurs should be more innovative in their products or in their marketing or in their so-called system of productions. From A to Z, they have to be innovative in different ways. And for the employees, they have to be more resourceful as well as innovative as well. So it doesn't matter you are employees or employers. Innovation is one of the ways to actually stay put in the market. And during our journey to the studio just now, I was saying that those in the high-tech industries are actually facing it tougher and tougher because every innovations
difficult to keep up, right?
Every innovations that comes out, they need to remarket themselves, they need to reposition themselves, they need to resell themselves. So I believe that the conventional business, like they're just selling food stuff, they don't actually need to do much. They just need to re-innovate their packaging.
Food, clothing, and shelter.
Food, clothing, and shelter. The packaging, they just package it nicely, probably make their food much more tastier, more presentable. Quality of the food, rather than those in the technology industries, high-tech industries, which cost a lot and much more resources.
I think you're right. A lot of my friends complain the food quality during the parents' time, for example, are much better. Now the kids take over the shop or the stall, the food quality is down already and doesn't taste so nice.
Yeah, in actual fact, because nowadays the kids who took over the stores actually look at it as a business. So they just do it.
Not really a passion, right?
Not a passion, and they just do it out of money-making motive.
I believe those days during their parents' time, they also
during the parents' time it's slightly
to make money.
Different because none of the things can be outsourced. From the ingredients to the sauces to the productions, everything needed to be done in-house and personally. And nowadays, everything can be outsourced,
including the
workers, and even the food sources can be outsourced. So it's sad to say that those in the food chain, you taste one, you taste all.
It's very commercialized.
It's so commercialized that practically there's no uniqueness in your food.
There's no home taste feeling, right?
Yeah. So it's a sad case, and since quite a number of this thing happens in Singapore, it's not really in Malaysia yet. In Singapore, actually, they can outsource how they clean the vegetables. Right?
Everything can be outsourced.
Everything can be outsourced, right down to the eggs. You can have
outsource is not really such a bad idea, provided you maintain that quality.
Maintain the quality.
And service.
And even like the curry sauce, is all buying from the same supplier.
Yeah.
So if you
taste
have
one, you taste
if
all.
you have different curry stores, it's still the same taste because its sources are
Same
from the same supplier. So these are the situations where why we say that now the generations, the food does not taste as good as our days. So, but then can't help it because the flow of the economy is moving so fast. Everybody wanted to make some money.
Right. So guys, if you are doing business, make sure you continue to innovate and not just stop at whatever level
and
you
the
are at.
main thing is how to improve your USP. Right.
Yes. Continue to improve and look for new USP for your products.
Yes.
Maybe sometimes the USP that's been working for the past 20 years now may not work. For example, we had a classmate who is in the flour retail and wholesale business. For many, many years during his parents' time, the USP is that they can provide better service to their customers, even though their price is slightly higher. But today, that same USP cannot use
already.
Because people look at price more than service.
Because service is a must already.
Right, yeah, it's like given.
It's a given thing. It's more like it comes together with the products. It's not something extra.
So guys, if you have a USP, it's very good. But you need to continue to look at your USP, whether it's still applicable and how to protect it.
Times and market changes. Right. So in this sense, all business owners, entrepreneurs, big or small, you got to keep on looking at your USP and keep on improving on it.
Not only the marketing part, but also the production part. Some people, their production is almost the same. Like we have 2 stalls, maybe 30 years ago, they were side by side. But today, one stall is something like a listed company, very big commercial business. Their stall remain a stall, same like the one it was 30 years ago.
Yes, and we were just discussing just now over at the coffee shop while we were eating our pastry, the Kaya Puff. This Kaya Puff actually runs by a chain. We started 40 years ago. And at the same time, I told Andrew, at the same time, there's another store selling curry puff. Just further down the road. And the guy, after 40 years, still doing his own one-store curry puff thing. Whereas this guy who's at the other bus stop 40 years ago, started the same time. Now that shop actually flourishes to
become a chain
store, and you can see their counters everywhere in coffee shops.
But Eric, that guy doing a small business, he may still be enjoying himself. Maybe he doesn't make so much money lah.
Yes. Probably he can just take leave and as and when he wanted it, and
so
still
guys,
has sufficient business to carry on.
If you really want to enjoy yourself, have a pleasure, and at the same time make more money, then you have to look at your marketing, your production closely again and see how your friends who have improved, what they did, and you can follow the same path to improve your business and grow it.
Yes, but at the bottom line is the most important is what you want out of your business. That's the most important thing.
Right, great. Right. Well, that's our current business update for today. We'll be back shortly with more interesting updates on ASEAN Biz. Stay tuned, guys. Welcome back, folks. You're listening to ASEAN Biz. Before we bring on our main story for this edition, Eric is going to share with us his funny business moment. And the title of his story today is Lie Detector.
A father buys a lie detector that makes a loud beat whenever somebody tells a lie around it. His son comes home one afternoon. His father asks him, "So, you were at the school today, right?" Then the son replied, "Yeah." Bang! The detector sounded. Okay, I was in the cinema. Bang! Alright, I went for a beer with my friends. What? At your age, I wouldn't touch alcohol. Bang! The lie detector got. Then the mother heard all this and laughing out loudly. Ha ha ha. Well, he really is your son. Bang! Okay.
Hey, Eric. Don't be naughty, yeah?
Alright.
Thanks, Eric, for that funny business moment. Guys, you're listening to ASEAN Biz, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host, Andrew Chia, and together with me is Eric Chong, and we bring you all the business news that involves ASEAN countries.
The title of our Durian main story today is Global Meltdown Again. This article is produced courtesy of CENFIS, the Center for Financial Intelligence Studies.
Hey, Eric,
Okay.
I hate the word again. Why do you
Again.
say again?
Did it melt down before?
Hey,
When was
sounds
it?
like not so long ago in 2008, what
Yeah.
you call the subprime crisis.
Subprime crisis, and
Yeah.
it hurts not the global. We don't call it global yet. It hurts America the most.
Yeah, but even China, a very far away country, was hurt.
Yeah,
Thousands of factories closed down because
Can't have it
the rich men, Europe and US,
because
could
at
not
that time
buy their
the
goods.
biggest purchaser and the biggest consumer market is from US.
Yeah.
So can't have it.
That's why we say global meltdown.
So everything is a domino effect.
And now you're saying we are going to melt down again.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be the most scary edition of Durian Main story ever?
Well, hard to say because this the news. We're just reading out from the news through our research. And during the earlier part of the program, we talked about falling oil prices. So the slowdown followed by the drop in oil prices, corporations, countries everywhere are feeling the strain on the cash flow.
Yes,
Right.
dangerous.
So actually, it's the cash flow that is hurting all these companies that make them unable to operate smoothly.
Right, Eric. I think I remember sharing this with our audience earlier in one of the editions. Cash flow.
Yes.
I always tell this story. If a guy owes the bank, say, credit card of $10,000, compared to his friend who owes $10 million, okay, which is the guy who is going to get hurt or killed? We wouldn't know, actually.
Yes.
Because the guy who is owing $1 million, he might have enough cash flow to pay for his installments.
Yeah, still can
Whereas
last.
for that guy who is just owing a few $1,000s, his installment a month, maybe a few $100 only, he cannot pay that and he could be in a lot of trouble, right?
Yes, and when the bank start asking for his loan repayment, he unable to make it, and that's where the bankruptcy notice comes in.
Right. So you see,
Even
it's
for
not only
10,000.
the big amount, is the cash flow. When it's due, something is due, you made an obligation to the bank or to your business partners, your creditors.
Or even your utilities bills.
Right, yeah, and when a day falls due and you can't pay, that is where the problem starts, right?
And it start to have a reciprocal effects, and it's keep on accumulating. Well, it happens to a lot of people, especially in today's world,
And
where
in
everybody
fact,
living on credits.
Eric, I believe that is what makes the Along business so successful, because people have to meet their obligations on a particular date. And when they can't do that, they have really no choice but to approach what they call loan sharks to get a sum of money to tide over.
Yeah, and then they end up owing the loan sharks more and more and more.
Yeah, you see, they got no choice.
Right.
So the first news we have today is about a company in Korea called Hanjin, whereby the share price dropped from 40,000 won in a few years ago in 2011, and today their share price is only 1,000 won. And that is a drop of only 97.5%.
5%
Eric.
only. Maybe Andrew, you can just give a brief outline what Hanjin is all about.
Yeah, Hanjin is in the shipping and container business. Even in our country, we see their containers and the trailers moving around quite a bit, right?
So their services, or rather their logistic, is actually moving around the world.
Yeah.
You can see them having
have
owing
ships
ships
and
and vessels
everywhere.
everywhere, and they have containers everywhere. So it's not a small business. It's quite a huge business, and even businesses at this size also can go
what
bankrupt.
does this company tell us? That the trade around the world, the vessels are not needed so much right now, isn't it? Due to a slower global
demand.
economy.
Probably they might not be able to meet their frequency of movement, and this has caused a tremendous hurt in their cash flow. And because of this kind of company, they actually leverage very high.
Yeah, and to solve their financial problems earlier, they actually went for very high loans. They borrowed so much money that today they can't pay, and they're in deep trouble.
So their ships are actually floating in the ocean.
Yeah, in many countries,
many
more than 10
countries.
countries, their creditors are trying to repossess their vessels. Can you imagine that? It's very dangerous.
So I'm not sure why should they have been repossessed. What will happen to those vessels and what will happen to those businesses?
So what we are talking about is a big company that's having problems. And we are worried that there are equally big companies, not only in the same shipping industries, but it can spread over to other industries that will
For
be having
example, like the
problems.
banking industries were the first one to be hurt.
Right.
Because these banks are actually the biggest loan givers. They actually give out huge loans. And most of the banks also got hurt very much, especially now we look at Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank is a Germany bank, and their shares, the biggest bank in Germany, and their shares actually dropped from a high of $160 just before the subprime crisis to $15 today. That's a drop of 90%, not too much.
Say that again, Eric. How many percent?
90%. Can you imagine that a bank shares can drop from $160 to $15?
Or
You can look
bankrupt?
at it this way. Probably this bank has actually give out too huge a loan.
Actually, giving out huge loans is not the problem, Eric. People not paying back the
People
loans.
not paying back the
is
loans,
the
that's the
problem.
problem. So should they have given loans to companies that actually went bankrupt? That's the biggest problem.
So you see, that's the problem.
Even though the bank have repossessed the vessels, what are they going to do with the vessels? And with this kind of economy, they won't be able to fetch a good price for the vessels as well. And there's no buyer for the vessels.
Right, Eric. But I think in light of what we are trying to say today, a global meltdown, let's take a closer look at Deutsche Bank. Their problem is not only lending money to people who didn't pay back. They have another more serious problem, that is exposure to derivatives, which amount to 64 trillion US dollars.
Whereas Germany GDP is only 4 trillion, and the Eurozone GDP is only 13 trillion.
Hey, hello, Eric. Please repeat that again, will you?
Okay. Their country, Germany, is just a GDP of 4 trillion, whereas the total Eurozone GDP is only 13 trillion.
You mean they have exposure to derivatives 16 times of their country's GDP?
Yes, or 16 times. That's a lot. That's a huge.
Hey, that's mind-boggling. You cannot even understand what that means.
Right. So in that sense, actually, a lot of us might not be able to understand what derivative is all about. So maybe Andrew can just give a brief explanation later what derivative is all about.
This derivatives problem is so big, I think, Eric, we got to take a break and come back to tell our friends what derivatives is all about and why it will contribute to a global meltdown.
Yes.
Possibly
that will
soon.
be exciting for our listeners to actually understand what derivative is all about. We will take a short break and be back with our short stories shortly. So stay tuned, guys.
Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN Biz, and our Durian main story today is Global Meltdown again. But before we continue with the concluding part of our story today, Eric will give us a quick health tip, and his story for today is 3 food items to dump if you're on a diet.
Thanks, Andrew. A lot of people would like to go for a diet, and they don't know where to start. So the first place to start is to look at your kitchen and your refrigerator.
And start dumping a few
items. Right? Diet experts often say that you should clean out your pantry, your cupboards, and your refrigerator when you start a new weight loss plan. It's important to set up your kitchen for success if you're really serious about slimming down. If you are short on time but committed to getting lean and fit, here's the quick start plan for the kitchen cleanup. Grab your trash can, open the refrigerator, and grab these 3 items to decrease your calorie intake and lose weight faster. So what are the 3 items? The first item to throw out is your salad dressing. Salad sounds like the perfect diet food. Fill your lunch plate full of healthy veggies and you lose weight, right? Wrong. In many cases, your salad is a diet disaster. And many times the salad dressing is what adds the most fat and calories. In small amounts, salad dressing isn't too bad. But when is the last time you measured your amount that you pour on your dressing or salad? The calories in salad dressing can ruin your energy balance for the day. Even fat-free dressing have a downside. Often these products are full of sugars and still very high in calories. A better option is to add spicy, flavorful ingredients like pepper or radishes to your greens and go dressing free. Or dress your salad with lemon. Second item is your flavor coffee creamer. If you can't live without the sweet, milky taste of flavor creamer in your morning coffee, I feel your pain. I used to be addicted to hazelnut creamer, but I got over it when I realized the health impact it had on my diet. If you read the nutrition facts label, the calories and fat content of flavor creamer doesn't look too bad. But when you read between the lines, the story isn't so pretty. Flavor creamers are one of the most common foods we overeat. If you multiply your actual portion size times the calories count per serving, you might be surprised. Think the fat-free creamer are better? Nope. Non-dairy fat-free creamers are one of the most common sources of hidden fat. A better option is to learn to make healthier flavored coffee drinks at home. Juices. Again, juice sounds like the most. It should be part of a healthy diet. Friendly breakfast. In fact, some dieters make juice the entire meal. But the bottom line is that when you drink fruit juice, you are drinking a glass full of sugar. Fresh juice does contain vitamins that are good for you, but why not just eat a whole piece of fruits? You might be surprised to find that when you compare the calories in an orange to the calories in a glass of orange juice, the fruit fares better, and whole fruit is more satisfying than sipping your calories through a straw. The one thing that these foods have in common is that many dieters believe they are healthy because they contain a healthy ingredient or because they have a healthy looking label. We often overeat foods that carry that health halo, and we end up consuming excess fat, calories, and ingredients that aren't good for us. Of course, dumping this food is just the beginning of a full kitchen cleanup, but if you can these 3 items, you'll be on your way to a healthier diet and a slimmer physique.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you.
Salad dressing, flavored coffee creamer, and
juices.
These 3 items are dangerous, guys.
Yes, so and it's very common that a lot of people having this myth that I drink juices only. Why I can't lose weight? Well,
Eric, do you recommend we throw away these 3 items permanently? Not only during our slimming days,
it
but
should be
also
permanently be thrown away.
Yeah,
actually,
I suspect so.
Yes.
These items are no good.
It's no good.
I never take them anyway.
Right. If it's just one salad dressing, it's very simple. You just mix some balsamic vinegar with some olive oil, then you have fantastic salad dressing.
Yeah. Some people are addicted to salad dressing.
Yes,
because,
you don't need to go for those Thousand Island sauce. You don't need to go for those mayonnaise. In fact, mayonnaise is the worst kind, and Thousand Island sauce are the worst, equally
How
bad.
about tartar sauce?
It's the best. It's not the best. It's the worst kind, right? All these sauces are actually no good to you. And even though juices, you heard a lot of so-called health conscious people always say that I only drink my juices. But actually, juices will hurt you more. It's pure sugar. The fiber have been taken out, and you end up cleaning the blender. Why you want to clean the blender when you can just eat the whole apple and just throw the core away?
Yeah. Thank you, Eric. That's a great health tip. Let's continue with our Durian main story today. That is global meltdown again.
Right.
Yeah. Coming back to the questions, what are derivatives?
Okay. Before the break, we were talking about derivatives. So maybe at this moment, Andrew can enlighten our listeners.
Yeah,
what are derivatives?
Lemon, for example. The lemon fruit is the actual asset or the actual thing that is valuable. The lemon juice is a derivative of lemon. Okay, so derivatives are actually something made from a main source of asset. For example, you have crude oil, and you have crude oil derivatives like options and things like that where you trade. So basically, these derivatives in the financial market are what Warren Buffett calls financial weapons, weapons of mass destruction. They can actually destroy the whole planet.
Yes, and it actually comes through when you look at the figures of what derivative is all about and what sort of figures that they are holding on to.
Another way to look at it, Eric, is that derivatives are something like side bets. For example, we are betting Brazil and Argentina football. Who is going to win? So one guy will bet on Brazil, another guy will bet on Argentina. Similar in the financial world, we talk about, let's say, gold price. One guy will bet that the price of gold will go up. Another guy will bet the opposite direction. So somebody will win. And theoretically, it's a zero-sum game whereby one guy wins and another guy loses.
Yeah.
But in real fact, when we bet, we have to place our bet at what they call a jonker or banker or something
bankers
like that.
or a dealer in this case.
During our younger
broker.
days, maybe 40 or 50 years ago, people used to bet numbers like 36 numbers, where the Chinese call is the jifa, and then some will bet the black market 4D,
Right.
the 4D numbers, So some of them, all the gamblers or the bettors will place their bet with one guy. He's supposed to be the taiko lah.
Or the main bookie.
Main bookie. So every now and then we'll hear stories whereby the banker goes bankrupt.
The bookie went bust.
Because everybody bets on one particular number and it comes out and the banker or the bookie is not able to pay.
Yes, and this is called the leveraging because when you bet $1, you can actually win $2,000.
Ah, right, yes.
Right. So in this sense, the derivative is that you are betting with $1, but your leveraging is $100.
Yeah, in options, it could be even up to 200 times.
200 times. So can you imagine that they are actually creating money out of thin air?
So if a small bookie goes bust in a small place like Kuala Lumpur, it is still containable. The losses of probably a few hundred people is not that bad. But if it is on a global scale, Eric.
As we mentioned during the earlier part of the program, Deutsche Banks actually have an exposure of derivative of 64 trillion.
So it seems like they are like the bookie.
14 times more than the Germany GDP.
That's how they have so much exposure, right?
Yes, that's it's overexposed. So
if
what
somebody
happens?
the right number opens up and they have to pay, what is going to happen?
Because they have no money to pay.
So theoretically, they are only the bookie whereby A and B are betting and they are just a middleman. So they are supposed to cancel out and have a net figure, probably only 10% of what that figure is all about.
Yes.
But in actual fact, that net figure could be imaginary and the gross figure can come into play.
And it's end up also they themselves is the player.
Yeah, because they not only take the bets and become a bookie, they themselves bet with other bankers.
So they call it they have to reinsure themselves. Right. It's the same thing as insurance company. They take your premium and they pays the premium into another reinsurance company. Right.
So you are talking about one big bank in Germany. How about America? There are so many big banks in America. And how much are their exposure, derivatives exposure of all the banks in the US?
Unaccountable at this moment, or cannot be counted. But so far, the total derivative exposure of US banks comes up to a few hundred trillion.
That's mind-boggling because the GDP for America is only 20 trillion or maybe slightly less. So if you talk about a few hundred trillion, that's many times the GDP of the country.
Can you imagine the total estimated only global derivative exposure is at what figure?
For the whole world.
Right. So we are looking at close to 1.5 quadrillions.
Come again, Eric. What
quadrillions?
Quadrillion. Okay. How many zeros?
How many zeros?
One quadrillion.
I don't know how to count that. And this actually caused a big bubbles.
Yeah. This. Can you imagine? This is going to be a financial nuclear bomb. And looking at Deutsche Bank right now, it certainly sounds very scary.
So it's not nice to say that Warren Buffett is correct again, isn't it?
Yeah, he mentioned weapons of mass destruction, but he didn't mention nuclear bomb, brother.
Right. So it's quite similar to nuclear bomb because when these bubbles burst, it actually can zero-rise the whole world.
Hey, hello, sounds scary already.
So we are back to Stone Age. All countries have to be self-sustainable. No more
Credit will be wiped out.
Credit will be wiped out.
Of course, the bettors, the people who bet, cannot get back their money.
Yes.
Not only the winnings, they cannot even get back the money they put.
The capital.
The bet.
Yes. And confidence level will be gone, and crime rate will shoot up. Economic crashes.
It follows naturally.
Maybe total chaos. We don't know. So maybe this is what we call the Judgment Day. The modern Judgment Day.
Yeah, actually, the most important thing in the world is the confidence. For example, if Eric and Andrew don't have money, we can always go on a diet. But if somebody is kind enough to lend Eric and Andrew $1 million each, that is a different story.
That's a different story.
Or rather, if Andrew lends Eric $1 million and Eric in turn lends me back $1 million, both of us will be millionaires.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of confidence. Eric is very resourceful, he's hardworking, he's innovative. I'm sure he can repay my $1 million. And he has the same mutual respect for me. So both of us become millionaires.
Yes.
Okay?
But it's still the 1 million also.
Yeah, so actually that is what makes the world go round. Everybody trusts everybody. The banks trust the people to work hard and pay back their loans. Similarly, banks also trust each other and they lend money to one another. But we have seen during the subprime crisis where the AAA banks, the highest rating, we cannot get higher than AAA, right? So they were selling their assets at 20% or even less than their face value. Can you imagine, Eric?
They just want to recover their cash.
It just means that they don't trust one another anymore. You are telling me that your document here worth $1 million. I'm going to pay you only 100,000 to buy it.
To buy it.
You
That's
want
all.
it or
You
not?
want it or not? You don't want it, then leave. That's all.
That's how scary it is. And that was only on a national scale in the US, where the total loss was only estimated at about $1 or $2 trillion. Now we
Which
are
is
talking
not too
about
much.
hundreds of trillion dollars, Eric.
Yeah. So, and all these are actually just, I would say, figures from the thin air.
Yeah, it's numbers from a telephone book or even worse than that.
Yes.
Astronomical numbers.
Okay. So, and then how to become financially intelligent in this sense?
How to survive,
How to survive, you know. So as I put it, we are back to Stone Age. We got to plant our own produce.
So for a start, before anything explodes, I believe we are still back to the same advice on spending only on necessities and not throwing money at the clubbings
and gadgets and a lot of things.
Immediately improve our money knowledge and skills and also our marketing skills. They will come in handy when anything bad happens. We'll still be able to market and make some money for our living.
And a lot of people will start hedging their risks in gold.
Yeah, if you are rich enough, you have a lot of money, put it in gold. That would be good advice.
Because people feels that gold is still something tangible.
Right.
And still commands certain value and is a scarcity commodities.
Right. At $1,300 today, some people will think that it's still expensive because they are waiting for $800. But then again, if you look in a longer sense, whereby gold might one day become $5,000 or even more, so it is a good investment.
Yes. And I was puzzling, should there be a global meltdown and there's no more money value, what can we do with the gold?
Bite it. Eat it for breakfast.
Can we eat it or not? So I believe that another way of hedging your money on gold is to buy a small piece of land where you can actually
land
go for
and gold are good assets to hold.
buy a small piece of land where you can farm it and toy it. At least you can build your own small cottage there.
Buy as big a piece of land as you can afford. That
at least you can
better advice, right?
You can at least build your own cottage. No need bank loans. You can plant your own food. You can rear your own chicken.
So I think, Eric, such a scary story today. Let's not dwell too much on it. Okay.
Yes. Okay, it's too scary.
And let's tell our listeners that we have come to the end of our show today, and we hope that they have enjoyed it. We'll be back with a brand new Durian main story for our next edition on ASEAN Biz soon.
Thank you and goodbye.